Arc Raiders, yeah, okay. So I was excited about it when it first was announced. So Arc Raiders, if anybody doesn't know, it is it's made by Embark Studios. It's coming out in early 2025. It's the team that's behind the finals, which is a pretty decent game. Really took the FPS by storm for a good amount of time. Is one of those FPS. This is gonna kill Call of Duty, gonna kill different games. Game. It obviously didn't, but it did have a good following for a good time. They're still releasing a lot of content for it. Visually, that game is really good. Like the visuals of that game, the destruction of the world is really good. Um, and they are trying their hand at a third person PvP VE adventure extraction shooter, which is different from the original focus of this game, the original direction of this game.
I saw that they kind of switched courses here, but I couldn't really find out why.
I think one, I think they're trying to ride the wave of extraction shooters because originally it was supposed to be a loot and shoot game. And I wonder, so they've had tons of playtests. This game has been in development, I think, for 7 years, is what I read or what I heard. So I think at least 7 years, and they've done tons of playtests and all this. So I wonder if just the feedback of the loot and shoot just wasn't going as planned and they weren't like getting it right. And so they like kind of shifted gears, took a lot of the feedback in, I'm guessing, and went to a more popular like game type right now, I guess. Like extraction shooters are big. Well, so are loot and shoots, and it was also free to play. And I think I actually am on board with them switching to a more premium model, like the paid, like you're getting the game, like it's not a free to play, if that makes sense. I'm okay with that.
I'm 100% okay with that. I'm kind of like ready to just ditch free to plays altogether. Like I mean, I get it. It's good to have free to plays because they're like we say all the time, like gaming is expensive, and it's cool that there's games out there that you actually don't need to pay for if you don't want to. You'd never have to spend $1 in them. But I don't know. Like for me personally, I'm just kind of done with free to plays.
I agree. And it's one of those things that I think with the way the direction of the game was going, the original trailers, they weren't all that like they look cool, but they weren't like a game that I felt like I'm gonna jump in and really dive into this game because it's free to play. I just felt like it was lacking a lot, even from those original trailers. But let me go ahead and pull up this new gameplay trailer as we're talking about it. And I just think that the visualization of the game, the way the elements look, I think this game is in a much better place than they would have been with a loot and shoot. If that makes sense.
I also agree it's in a much better place. I think like the only thing. All right, great. This is great that you got this trailer because this is what I watched too. So if you guys are just listening, we have like a 6-minute kind of in-depth gameplay trailer.
Yeah. Yep.
And I will say that like I do really like the concept of this. So guys, if you don't know anything about the game, really fast, you're basically living in like a post-apocalyptic underground civilization.
Yep.
And your whole thing of being an arc raider is you need to go to the surface and collect resources, right? That's
Yep.
like the extraction part of the game, which I think is a really interesting idea. Like it definitely gives me kind of like Fallout vibes and stuff like that. But the further and further I got into watching this trailer, I don't know, dude, I just kind of got bored.
I think it's one of those games that they want you to play it slower. They want you to play it like Escape from Tarkov. They want it to feel like that kind of game,
Right.
but more of a friendly introduction to those type of games because Escape from Tarkov is very hardcore, very slow paced, and things like that. Whereas this game, I think, is to allow more of an audience to get in without having it not be so unforgiving. Like if you mess up an arc or Escape from Tarkov, like you're screwed. Like you get shot twice, you're dead. Whereas this game, you'll see some of the combat in here, a couple minutes. Like you have a chance to save yourself and make like respond to seeing an enemy before you're dead. If that makes sense. So I think that's why this game. That's their idea of going for it. And to me, I think visually the game looks fun.
Visually, it looks great.
Yeah.
I mean, visually, I think it looks really, really cool. Not the hugest fan of the setting.
Hmm.
I'm not gonna be I'm gonna be honest here. I'm not a hugest fan of this setting,
Yeah.
specifically in games like this PvPvE, where
Yeah.
you really need to kind of be able to decipher where a threat is coming from. I think a setting like this, where everything is very monotone and this like yellow kind of sandy color, makes that a little bit more challenging. So I'm not a
Yeah.
fan of that really. But aside from that, I mean, it does look visually really good. I
I
just
I think they're going for this kind of monotone, like different shading, different areas. One, to make it harder for like if you're playing solo, you can like hide in these shadows a little bit more. Use the environment to like get yourself around because, like I said, you can play either solo or duo or in a full group. But if you're playing solo, you're gonna want to have these shadows and things like that.
I think it works both ways though.
Yeah,
Like if you're playing solo, like it's good to have these shadows and stuff
yeah,
like that so you can hide, but like also in the same turn when it's this monotone
yeah,
and this flattened out,
yeah,
it's like you know, because the worst thing that happens in games like this for me is like I'm just kind of doing my thing, and then
yeah,
all of a sudden I get like pop pop double sniped, and you're like,
yeah,
damn it, you know, like
yeah.
where did that come from? And I think it lends way to allow campers to just kind of like be super sweaty.
And I'm glad you brought that up because my biggest thing with extraction shooters, there are griefers in these games that just hide out at the extraction that don't or the extraction and that don't do any of the work and they just wait for people to show up to the extraction and kill them, steal their stuff and extract. Like
Right.
I don't think there's ever going to be a way that these games can fix that unfortunately because of um like there's no way to do it except they do have multiple extraction locations, so that helps a bit. But if you have three groups camping three of the four extractions, like you're gonna have to get in a firefight, and if you're a solo, like it's game over. Like 3 versus 1, it's not gonna happen.
I almost think it's like, I don't know. I think this kind of defeats the purpose of the game, but I do think it probably makes it a better game. Like, I think certain items, like campaign objective items,
Yeah,
you shouldn't be able to snag on a drop.
yeah,
Like, and like, I understand it kind of defeats the purpose of like, you know, oh, you're going to have to get into a firefight and stuff like that. But
yeah,
like, I don't know. I think I would almost rather have that and eliminate this like sweaty griefing,
yeah. I would
you know?
agree, and I think where I think this game where I think this game could have expanded on. Yes, it was going to be originally it was going to be a PvE game, right? Well, I think that they could have like PvE solo. I think that this game could have done better and fallen in suit kind of how the Division did it, where they have different areas where like there's a PvP area, PvPvE area,
Right.
and then there's also a PvE area. Like I think that could have helped expand it and made it more appealing to more people. And yes, with the PvP and the Division, you had more of a chance with better loot, which I agree. If reward players that are working harder in like a PvP setting, but to like get your foot like in the step into the ground running a little bit, like having that PvE option, it helps the player build confidence and understand the game. But if you're just going in there and getting destroyed, like you're gonna lose interest because you're dying so much.
Yeah, and I think with not having that option kind of loses a player base, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna lie. Like when you brought this game up, and you know Adam loves these types of games, and he
Mhm.
brings these games up. You know, it's just like every time I put a Souls like in front of him, he's like, ah, fucking another Souls like,
Yeah.
damn it, you know what I mean? So like when I was looking at this game, I was like, ah, another online shooter,
Yeah.
and I was looking at it, and I was like, this game actually looks really fun. Like
Yeah.
this would be a game that I'm interested in, but I would love to turn the PvP off because I'm just not about that life. Like if I'm online, I want it to be like an online co-op where I'm playing with people that like I want to be in the game with and we're working together. I just don't want to deal with random people trying to kill me when I'm playing games. I just don't want to deal with it. And like I don't know, it kind of turns me off that I can't turn that off.
I know that there are games that you can do that still. You know what I mean? Like the very successful Helldivers, Suicide Squad, not successful, but like that was PvE. So there's games out there that are PvE, but I was intrigued of this game when it was the PvE because I thought the mechanics of the game looked really cool when I first saw it. I think the mechanics and the gameplay of the game looks even better now. Like I liked how they kind of brought it to like down to earth, like not so much crazy jumps and things like that. Like I like that's a little bit more grounded. But like we've been talking about, the PvP kind of, and I'm a PvP player. Like I like PvP, like games, like first person shooters, all that. But when it comes to games like this, like I want to get the loot and like not have to worry about dying to griefers and sweaty people. But I don't know. I know it's one of those, all the Tarkov players and players that play these extraction shooters and say just get good.
Yeah, just get good.
If I had the time to do, I would love to. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna get this game. I'm gonna give it a fair shot. I'm gonna put some hours into it because I think it looks cool. Um, I'm not super excited about the like the setting and the lore, to be honest. I liked how the finals went, how it played. They brought in a lot of experience from Dice, which made Battlefront or Battlefield, like those games. A couple like did some things with Madden, and like so the things that make the games look great. I think that they're doing a great job with this, and which is why I'm most intrigued. But the setting of the arc reminds me of Horizon. The the slow downness is kind of Escape from Tarkov. The movement is kind of Division. I think they're combining games, but they're doing it in a good way. It's like don't get me wrong, but the extraction shooter part is where it doesn't have me fully invested.
You ready for me to drop a bomb?
Yeah.
I'm getting this game,
Are you really?
and we're playing together.
No, you're not.
I swear, we're getting this game.
Okay.
I don't love the PvP section of it, but like,
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. I think the lore of it, I actually do love. I do love that story. Post-apocalyptic, you're living under the city. You got to go up above the surface to get the resources that you need. Like, if you look through that trailer, where they were talking about needing to go find like, need to go to the pharmacy because you need medication. Like, you need building resources. Like, I love that idea. I think it's such a fun idea. And when it comes to an extraction shooter, I think it's like a really good idea because it actually feels like something that you would need to go into danger for. Like a lot of these extraction shooters, you're just like, I don't know, it's fake money or like armor plate, you know what I mean? Like stuff like that. Like this feels like they figured out a storyline that would actually make sense and force you to go into danger because you need these things. It's almost like a survival game. They almost took like a survival aspect and put it into an extraction shooter.
Okay, well, I'm
Wh-
glad. I'm glad you're gonna get this one because
Yeah,
I was hoping I'm like, who am I gonna play this with? But
I'm
now I
playing
got
it with you.
somebody.
Yeah.
I was gonna play this solo, sneak around every time and just try not to get killed. But now we can take people on, Dave.
I mean, I'm not going to be very good, but
That's okay.
I'll be there with you.
Yeah. Some little gameplay notes here. I just have a few. I thought this is a really cool aspect. One, so when you get down, like you're not just straight dead. Like Escape from Tarkov, you get shot, you're dead. Where this is like your team has the ability to revive you, things like that. But in that regard, so yes, you have the option to revive your player, like your team. You also have like you shoot a flare when you get down. So the arcs are gonna come at you, and other players are gonna come at you. So that's an element like that's gonna bring chaos and like real tension to the moment of like I gotta save my friend before Jim Bob the player comes and shoots me down, or the big arc spire comes at me. Like that's cool. Like I think that's a really cool element. Um, the different objectives are yeah they're not so like go grab this. It's like go find like they tell you where to go and you have to find stuff to kind of move that along if that makes sense. You know what I mean? It's not just like go find this pencil that has superhero or super healing. Like you know what I mean? It's like go to the pharmacy and see what materials that will help and things like that. I think that's pretty neat. Um and you know me, I love stealth, so I like the ability that you don't have to like go in there guns blazing. You can pick your way of going in. And with that, there's a skill tree that you can kind of tailor the way you play it. And that's kind of very similar to the Division where you have different like not suits, loadouts, like different loadouts that you can tailor how you play, and I think that's really cool. Yeah, I'm just excited to see how this is. There's gonna be maps that are night mode and different settings in terms of what I don't think there. I didn't see anything about weather, but different settings of like light, dark, things like that. So
We're going out only at night.
only at night.
We are the Night Riders.
Night Raiders.
Night Raiders.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Boom.
Lock it up. Lock
The
it
nerdy
up.
Raiders. The nerdy Night Raiders.
Nerdy Night Raiders.
That's
Let's
awesome.
go.